Well, all right. So it's just before midnight, Monday, 1/20/2025. So dual purpose political day. So inauguration of the most racist president in history, as the people would have you believe, and the person who's stuck up for the most basic human rights, no matter what their race. So there's a little pamphlet that's been circulated around for forever. So the author Ingersoll Lockwood, apparently birth to death 1841 to 1918. And so this is what he saw. And it was first published in 1896. How about that? And the version I'm reading from is copyright 2019 by the Mockingbird Press. All rights reserved. The original work, first published in 1896, is the public domain. The publisher makes no claim of ownership to it. However, the compliant construction, reproduced, distribution, or transmitted in any form or by any means, including photography, recording, or other electronic or mechanical methods without the prior written permission of the publisher, except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical reviews and certain other non-commercial uses permitted by copyright law. So I ain't making money off this shit. So that's one of those non-commercial uses. Because if I'm getting if somebody tries to monetize my shit, I don't consent to that. Chapter 1. Bing, bang, boom, and a bing, bang, boom. That was a terrible night for the great city of New York. The night of Tuesday, November 3rd, 1896. The city staggered under the blow like a huge ocean linear. Plunges full speed, terrific crash into a muddy iceberg, and wreck coils shattered and trembled like an aspen. People were gathered, lighthearted and confident, at the evening meal when the news burst upon them. It was like a thunderbolt out of an azure sky. Alton holds Illinois hard first in the Democratic line. This elects Brand President of the United States. Strange to say, the people in the upper portion of the city made no movement to rush out of their house and collect in the public squares. Although the night was clear and beautiful, they sat as if paralyzed with a nameless dread. And when they conversed, it was with bated breath and throbbing hearts. In less than a half an hour, mounted policemen dashed through the streets, calling, "Eat, keep within your house, close your doors, and barricade them. The entire east side is in a state of uproar. Maybe mobs of vast size are going to organize under the lead of anarchists and socialists. And they may threaten to plunder and despoil the houses of the rich who have wronged and oppressed them for so many years. But keep within doors and extinguish all your lights. Happily, Governor Morton was in town, and although a deeper pallor came the ashen blue and of the age that he spoke, yet there was no tenor in his voice. Let the 7th, 22nd, and 75th regiments be ordered under arms. In a few moments, hundreds of messengers will be heard racing through the silent streets. They'll be summoning the members of these regiments to their arms. Well, so slowly, but with astonishing nerve and steadiness, the mob pushed the police northward, and although the force stood in the onslaught with a magnificent courage, yet beaten back, dark masses of infuriated beings surged up again with renewed fury and strength. Will the troops be in time to save the city? Was the whispered inquiry among the knots of police officers who were directing the movements of the men. About 9 o'clock, with deafening outcries, the mob, like a four-headed mobster, breathing fire, flame, they raced and tore and burst and raised into Union Square. The police force was exhausted, but their front was still like a wall of stone, save that it was movable. The mob crowded it steadily to the north, while the air quivered and rent. Mad prescriptions of victors. Byron is elected. Byron is elected. Our day has come at last down with our oppressors. Death to the rich man. Death to the gold bugs. Death to the capitalists. Give us the money you took. Give us back the ground you took from out from under us. Give us back the marrow of our bones you have used to grease the wheels of your chariots. The police force, now almost helpless. The men still used their sticks, but the blows were ineffectual and only served to increase the rage of the vast hordes now advancing upon Madison Square Garden. Madison Square. Fifth Avenue Hotel would be the first to feel the fury of the mob. Would the troops be in time to save it? A half cheer, half cry. Joy, joy goes up. It's articulate. Men draw a long breath. Women drop to their knees and strain their eyes, and they can hear something, but they cannot see it yet. The gas houses and the electric planes had been destroyed by the mob early in the morning, and they preferred to fight in the dark or by the flames of rich men's abodes. A gun. Here come the chair. They go up. Louder and clear. They're coming. They're coming. Yes, they're coming. The 22nd down Broadway, the 7th down to Madison, and both on a double quick. In a moment or so, there were a few bugle calls and a few spoken commands ring out clear and sharp. And then the two regiments stretched across the entire square, literally from wall to wall. in line of battle, the mob was upon them. With the slender line of troops could it hold such a mighty mass of men in check? The answer was a deafening charge of firearms, cracking terrible cracks, some thunderbolts when they exploded a wall of fire, blazed across the square, again blazed forth. Mob halted, they stood fast, wavered, they fell back. They came again, little bit at a time. In a moment, they came in a rattle. Huge knives in the distance. Clang, 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 clang. Gallant 75 first charging up 23rd, taking the mob on the flank. They came up like a wall of iron, bristling blades of steel. There were no outcries, no cheers from the regiment. Dealt out death in silence, save when two bayonets they crossed and clashed, bearing some doubly delicious fire and a foe that sang out at midnight. The last remains of the mob were driven to cover. The wheels of dead wagons rattled till daybreak. And then the aged governor, in response to the mayor's "Thank God we've saved the day, we've saved the city," aye, but per the Republic. That's chapter 1, Mother Mayor. Should I go chapter 2? I don't think it's much longer a read. May as well. Great! As has been the world's wonder at the uprising of Mr. Bryan's struggling masses in the city by the sea, and the narrow escape of his maleficent homes from fire and brand, yet greater still was the wonderment when the news was flashed across the land that Chicago did not stand in need of a single federal soldier. Chicago is mad, but it is the madness of joy. Chicago is in the hands of the mob, but a mob made up of its own people, noisy, rude, and boisterous. A natural exultation of a suddenly enfranchised class, but bent on no other mischief than glorying over the villainous and self-seeking souls who have ground the faces of the poor and turned the pitiless screw of social and political power into the hearts of the common people until that last thread has been reached and despair pressed its lupine visage hard against the door of the laboring man. And yet, at this moment, when the night air quivered, and the mad vociferance of the common people that the Lord had been good to them, and the wicked money changers had been driven from the temple, that the stony-hearted unshorn were beaten at last, that people's William was at the helm now, and the Pierce and the Plenty would few moans come back to the poor man's cottage, that the silver was plenty would be in a few months. Oh, King at last. The world's still wondering why your red-eyed anarchy. She stood in the Haymarket Square with thin arms aloft. Wild men, wilder gesticulation, draw no bomb of dynamite from her bosom to herd at the hearted minions of law and their silent spectators of this delirium of popular joy. Why was it? Look, and you shall know why white robe peace kept step up with this turbulent band and turned its thought from red-handled pillage. He was there, the master spirit to hold them on the leash. He and he alone. He lifted Byron to his great eminence. Without these 24 electoral votes, Byron had been doomed, hopelessly doomed. He alone held the great commonwealth of the West, hard and fast in the democratic line. Hence he came as conqueror, kingmaker. And the very walls of the sky touching edifices trembled as he was dragged through the crowded streets by this orderly mob, and 10 times 10,000 creatures bellowed his name and shook their hats aloft in mad exultation. Yeah, that's chapter 2, page 2. Yeah. Bada boom, bada ding, bada boom, bada bang. All right. Have a great evening. Good morning. Good night. 13 degrees here. No wind yet.